to your money. We all remember GSA's lavish Las Vegas conference back in 2010. They wasted more than $800,000 living it up. This picture really captures the attitude and the problem. Well, that wasn't all. The new report shows that they blew $270,000 of taxpayer money on one-day conference to celebrate, wait for it, themselves. The ceremony took place in November of 2010 at a Marriott in the Washington, D.C. area. Unbelievable. Or would be if it weren't the GSA we're talking about, actually. Here with me now is Representative John Mica of Florida, Republican chairman of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Congressman, thanks for being with us.
Good to be with you, but a bad day again for the taxpayers when GSA is spun again out of control.
Yeah, give us these latest details, because this just seems like more and more continues to come out. It's been 2 years since this original conference, and we keep getting more and more infuriating details.
Well, interestingly enough, this dribbles out a little bit at a time. This conference just took place a few days, actually a month after the October 2010 conference out in Las Vegas. And this was right near our nation's capital, mostly for bureaucrats that work in the Washington area. The expenditure is outrageous. $270,000 for one day, $104,000 for a coordinator for the event, and then they spent $20,000. Now, I'm not making this up. I've got the facts. $20,000 for drumsticks, and you mentioned $28,000 for picture frames. There was another $7,000 on that, $35,000 for picture frames. The expenses just go on and on, but they've done everything they can to keep this information from getting to us.
Well, but I wonder, I mean, the details are so infuriating. And we wonder, how could this have possibly happened in the first place? Because I would think that as you were planning something like this, you would say, these are taxpayer dollars, word's going to get out about this, and it's going to come back to bite us. Yeah.
Well, see, we knew something was sort of rotten in Denmark or in GSA. I took over as chairman, about 17 months ago. We started hauling them in, and you can see when your administrative expenses, now it doesn't take a Harvard business degree to figure this out. When your administrative expenses soar 300%, something's wrong. So we've been asking at every single hearing, we want the details, we want the facts. They've kept it from us. They've tried to cover it up. And now the Inspector General of GSA, not GSA itself, is giving us some of the facts.
But how do you use those details and facts to make sure that it never happens again in any other place in government? Because this is so egregious. Go ahead.
We're going to do a hearing. We've been planning a hearing. We need to take GSA apart. Would you give your property to the federal government to manage? I don't think so. I think we need to start looking at a way to dismantle this agency that has 14,000 properties, buildings and properties that are either vacant or underutilized. This is the tip of the iceberg, as I said before.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Are you getting support for that, abolishing GSA?
Well, again, I think we need to dramatically reform it. We can bring in people who actually know what they are doing. And, I had to postpone one hearing. We're going to do this August 1st because they intimidated many of the witnesses, people who are experts and professionals in dealing with property management. There are good property managers out there. GSA and the government.
But it seems like it's gone so deep in this particular organization that the only answer is to blow up this organization, to take it apart, and to give the responsibilities to someone else, to create a different organization. It seems like GSA cannot remain after this, if nothing else, because the name now is a joke.
Well, it is, but it shouldn't be a joke. We can get great return. We've done hearings in empty buildings in Washington. We're going to do it in an empty courthouse in Miami. We're taking this to the American people to stop the waste. We could save billions in this one agency. Again, getting it under control. Any legislation, and we've got some BRAC-type legislation we've sent over to the Senate.
I know, but Congressman, it's your job to stop the waste and to look into this and figure out how it happened and prevent it from happening again. So how are you going to do that? I mean, taking it to the American people, I think there's already so much outrage out there, but it's your job to stop it. So what's one big thing you're going to do to stop it?
Yeah. Well, first thing, we have already passed a BRAC-type piece of legislation dealing with public property. It's sitting in the Senate. So I'm going to need some more help. We've got a lot of bills stuck in the Senate. The other thing, too, is continue on our campaign to uncover if it's building by building, piece of property by piece of property. We just did a hearing in Georgetown, 2.08 acres sitting next to the Ritz-Carlton, some of the most expensive real estate on the East Coast, vacant for 11 years.
Yeah, I think you should sell that.
We've turned another one around, the old post office 2 blocks from the White House, going from a money loser of $8 million a year to a revenue maker, and 1,000 people will work at the site.
Okay, Congressman, that sounds like a great start. We can't wait to have you back to tell us more of what you're doing. Thanks for coming on tonight. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you. We're going to get it done.
Good. I hope so.